Hello my dear students, welcome to your video lecture, and today we are going to start our chapter The Treasure Within, which is about Hafiz Contractor, and this chapter is a part of an interview between Hafiz Contractor and Miss Bella Raja. So let's start the chapter. In this chapter, Hafiz Contractor shares how he became what he is today. Okay, so let's start with the summary. This chapter is an excerpt from an interview between Mr. Hafiz Contractor and Miss Bella Raja. Hafiz Contractor has had unhappy schooling. He was good in studies in the first and second year, but he seemed to lose interest in studies from the third standard onwards. Okay, so he was good in studies when he was in first and second standard, but जैसे ही वो third standard में आए, he started losing interest in his studies. He was scared of mathematics and he had nightmares about the mathematics examination. He often saw a dream of appearing in the maths examination not knowing anything. So he had this nightmare. Maybe some of you also have this nightmare, or maybe some of you also have this fear of mathematics. So he had this nightmare so often that he appeared in the math examination and he did not know anything. Okay? So he had this very often, and as a student he was more inclined towards games and playing pranks on others. He was a very good sportsman and was the senior champion for many years. Also, he was the captain of the cricket team at school. Okay, so he was not good at studies, but he was good at other things. He was good at sports. उन्हें बहुत अच्छा लगता था sports खेलना. He was the captain of the cricket team, and he loved to play pranks on other people. So he says that he cleared his examinations only by copying and cheating. Okay, so जब भी वो अपना एग्जाम पास कर पाते थे, that was only because he cheated or maybe he copied from some other student. However, in class 11th, his principal called him to give him a piece of advice. The principal told him that he is a good student, though he never studies. He also told contractor that until now he took good care of him, but now he will have to take care of himself. So when he was in class 11, उनके principal ने उन्हें बुलाया and he told him that he's a good student, he's a good child. Just because he does not study doesn't mean that he's not a good kid and he's not a good student. He was good at other things, obviously, and he also said that the principal also said that you have to take care of yourself now, because until now I was taking care of you. मैं तुम्हारी बहुत सारी चीज़ों का ध्यान रखता था, तुम्हारे इंटरेस्ट क्या हैं, तुम्हें किस फील्ड में आगे जाना चाहिए, ये सारी चीज़ों का मैंने ध्यान रखा है अब, बट फ्रॉम नाउ ऑन अब तुम्हें खुद का ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा. यू हैव टू केयर अबाउट योर फ्यूचर एंड you should be worried about your future. You have to think about it. He urged him to study. The contractor followed the principal's advice and would only go for prayers, eat and study. As a result, he scored 50% marks in his SSC exam. On being asked by Miss Bella if he was punished in school, he replied that he received caning almost every week. Okay, so the words of the principal, he had a lot of effect on him, and he studied a lot and he passed his examinations with 50% marks. वो बिल्कुल नहीं पढ़ते थे और वो एकदम से पढ़ना उन्होंने शुरू किया, तो एटलीस्ट वो 50% मार्क्स लेके आ पाए, वो बहुत बड़ी बात थी, राइट. एंड व्हेन मिस बेला आस्क्ड हिम कि वर यू एवर स्कोल्ड इन स्कूल, सो ही सेज दैट ही वाज स्कोल्ड एवरी वीक. उन्हें किसी ना किसी बात पे डांट पड़ी जाती थी, उन्हें किसी ना किसी बात पे मार पड़ी जाती थी एवरी वीक. However, it did not affect him as he was more interested in playing. Not only this, but he would also indulge in group fights and was a gang leader. He remembers that one day when he was not in the mood to study, they played chore police for one whole hour. Okay, so he was not good at studies, but he was kind of a gang leader. है ना, उनको fights करना और मस्ती करना, pranks खेलना, bunk मारना, all these things, he loved doing all those things, ठीक है. So one day when he did not feel like studying, तो उन्होंने पूरा 1 घंटे तक they only played चोर पुलिस and did not study at all. After school, he wished to join the army, but his aunt and mother did not let him join even the police. With some influence, he got admission in the Jai Hind College. There he was supposed to study French, but being weak in French, he took the help of his cousin. Her husband was an architect, and eventually he started going to his office in order to learn French. Okay, so after school, he somehow joined Jai Hind College, and there he was supposed to study French. उन्हें वहाँ French सीखना था, but he was weak in French too because he was never good at studies. So what he did was he took help from his cousin, जिनके जो husband थे. He was an architect, and he used to go to his office to learn French because he must have been good at French. So one day he saw an employee drawing a window detail, which is a very advanced drawing. Looking at it, he told him that this drawing was wrong as the window drawn will not open. So one day वहाँ पे उनके आर्किटेक्ट के ऑफिस में when he was there, and he saw कि एक एम्प्लॉय जो है वो एक विंडो बना रहा है, right, and which is obviously a very advanced drawing. So when he saw that, he said that this particular sketch is incorrect because if you implement it, if you actually make a window like this, तो वो कभी open नहीं होगी, right. So what happened after that? Looking at it, he told him that this drawing was wrong as a window drawn will not open. He won the bet, and his cousin's husband asked him to draw a few specific things. He did that immediately. The architect got highly impressed by this and asked him to study architecture. Okay, so when he said that window is never going to open, and when they had a bet कि नहीं, वो कुछ लोग बोल रहे थे ओपन होगी, एंड ही वाज सेइंग कि ओपन नहीं होगी, एंड इवेंचुअली ही वन दैट बैट, एंड then the architect, he asked him to draw a few things, and when he drew those things, so at that time he was so impressed कि without even learning how good he is at this, तो उन्होंने उन्हें बोला कि you should study architecture. And then in the college for architecture, only students with 80 to 90% were admitted. ठीक है, तो अब उनके लिए तो प्रॉब्लम हो गई थी क्योंकि he did not have that particular percentage. The principal allowed him to appear for the entrance exam with a condition that if he does not do well, he will not be allowed to join. Now the principal had this condition कि अगर तुमने अच्छा नहीं perform किया, you will not be allowed to enter the college, you will not be admitted to the college. So he had this challenge in front of him. He got an A grade, and after that he always got first class throughout. Okay, so after that he got an A plus. Okay, उनको A plus grade मिला, and after that उन्हें हमेशा अच्छे grades मिले because now he was doing something that he was interested in, something that he loved. You know, स्पोर्ट्स के अलावा बाकी सारी चीज़ों के अलावा जो उन्हें करना पसंद था, फाइट्स एंड ऑल, बट नाउ ही वॉज डूइंग समथिंग दैट ही लव्ड एंड समथिंग दैट ही कैन मेक अ करियर आउट ऑफ, राइट. सो नाउ ही वॉज डूइंग समथिंग ग्रेट. After he became an architect, he went to see Mrs. Gupta, his teacher, who had once told him to become an architect. Okay, when he became an architect and he completed his studies, so he went to this teacher he had once, Mrs. Gupta, who once told him that you should become an architect. Maybe she saw something in him, and she had this feeling that maybe he cannot study and maybe he is not good at it, but there are a few things that he can do. Okay, and architecture was that thing. So she advised him to become an architect, and that's what he did. So he, after becoming an architect, he went to meet Mrs. Gupta, and he says that school life made him street smart बनाया उनको उनकी school life ने. That means उन्हें बाकी की चीज़ें सिखाई जो बुक से हटके जो रियल लाइफ में आपको challenges face करने पड़ते हैं daily life में, उनसे deal करना सिखाया. Street smart बनाया मतलब यही हो गया कि उन्हें दुनियादारी सिखा दी एक तरह से कि बाहर अगर कोई ऐसी चीज़ हो जिससे experience करो आप, तो उससे कैसे deal करना है. मे बी वो बुक्स में नहीं मिलती है, राइट. कोई भी सिचुएशन अगर आपको फेस करनी पड़ जाए सडनली, तो वो आपको बुक्स से नहीं, आप नहीं बता सकते हो, उसका आंसर बुक्स में नहीं होता है, राइट. दैट कम्स फ्रॉम एक्सपीरियंस, है ना. दैट कम्स फ्रॉम मे बी एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ अदर पीपल. सो उन्हें जो स्ट्रीट स्मार्ट बनाया वो उनकी स्कूल लाइफ नहीं बनाया. He closely observes a client to understand his taste and then makes a sketch spontaneously. According to him, his sketches are his mathematics. Okay, so he closely observes the client. वो अपने client को इतना closely observe करते हैं कि इसको actually में चाहिए क्या, what does this client wants, और वो वही उसको बना के देते हैं. जो भी वो sketch बना के देते हैं, तो why are his clients so happy with him? Why is he so successful, so famous? Because he tries to understand what that client is thinking. What does he want? And that's what he delivers. That's what he makes. That's what he creates and then delivers. और इसीलिए उनके clients उनसे हमेशा इतना खुश रहते हैं. And at the end he says that according to him, his sketches are his mathematics. उनकी जो mathematics है वो क्या है, उनके sketches हैं. Okay, so this was the summary, everyone. And let's see a few question answers. How did Hafiz contractor have nightmares about? Hafiz contractor को किसके बारे में nightmares आते थे? So he had nightmares about appearing for a mathematics examination where he did not know anything. So that was his nightmare. Hafiz contractor wanted to join the police force. Why didn't he? Hafiz contractor army, police force सभी join करना चाहते थे, but he couldn't. Why? Because his mother and his aunt refused him to join the army or join the police, and they wanted him to complete his graduation first, right? Which rules did he break as a schoolboy? Oh God, he had so many rules broken when he was in school. For example, he would create a distraction if he did not want to study, and he always played pranks on other people. One day when he was not in mood of studying, so he played chore police for an hour, and he would copy. Yes, of course, he would copy during all his tests, and teachers would think that he did his work. So उनको पता नहीं चलता था that he copied, और उन्हें ऐसा लगता था कि उन्होंने उनसे काम खुद से किया है. But the only way for him to pass the test was cheating or copying from someone else. He was more interested in other things which made him street smart, like fighting, and he was a gang leader, of course, sort of a gang leader, and he used to fight a lot. So these were all the rules that he broke when he was in school, right? So that's it, everyone. I hope you understood the summary and the chapter, and you can read the chapter more carefully from your books and do the rest of the question answers. I hope these question answers would help you too, and I'll meet you in our next lecture. Thank you.